In just a bit from now, the crucial cabinet meet will kick off in the national capital. Top ministers are also in a huddle ahead of that cabinet meet. Union Ministers Amit Shah, Piyush Goyal, Prahlad Joshi and Anurag Thakur have held a meeting. This after a similar meet was held with BJP chief JP Nadda. So there's definitely something cooking. There's something in the works. Exactly what that is, we'll perhaps know in a day or two. But we're also getting you the inside track here on India Today. There are 8 bills in the government's tentative list. The cabinet meet could be discussing bills besides these 8 bills that have already been planned for the special session. There's a lot of buzz that it could just be the women's reservation bill. We're already seeing a lot of politics on it, but you can never really say with the Modi government. Paulami Saha is joining us with more details on this. Paulami, good evening. First day of the special session of Parliament. Largely, we've seen speeches cutting across party lines of members of Parliament speaking of, their experiences in the old Parliament building. There's a lot of focus on the cabinet meet that will be happening in just about 30 minutes from now, because that's when the government gets down to business. Is it going to be the women's reservation bill that will be tabled day after, Paulami?
Good evening, Akshita. Well, as far as what is it that the government has up its sleeve, it's still not known. It's still unclear. The government, of course, is not dropping any hints at the moment, although, of course, the Prime Minister did refer to historic decisions being taken during the special session of Parliament when he spoke with the media earlier this morning ahead of this session convening. He also, of course, spoke about the representation of women and the contribution of women parliamentarians over the last 75 years as he was speaking about the parliamentary journey of the last 75 years. So that, of course, added fuel to fire in terms of the speculation that has been doing the rounds, especially after the opposition, it seemed or appeared to be preempting what the government could be bringing to this special session of Parliament, because they raised it in a single voice, in a unanimous voice during that all-party meeting which was convened by the government yesterday ahead of the session. They supported, any introduction of a women's reservation bill in Parliament today when they spoke on the floor of both houses. We know that the BJP has promised.
Can I just interrupt for a second? And my apologies for doing that, but our next news break focuses on exactly what you're referring to. Amid all of this buzz over the women's reservation bill, let's get you details of the politics that's broken out, because the Congress, essentially sensing that the ground is being set for the women's reservation bill to be brought in, has started claiming credit already. They're saying we ensured quota for women first, and they've given details really on social media, claiming credit, saying that the seed of thought with regards to women's reservation was sowed by us. So, while the speculation continues, Paulami, it looks like the opposition is moving towards that direction. They're sensing that the women's reservation bill could actually be brought in. Apologies, we've lost the connection with Paulami, but the Congress now has put out details saying that we were the first ones to bring in women's reservation. We ensured a discussion on this, but remember that they've also faced quite a bit of flack, because there are several members from different parties who've opined that the Congress simply didn't do enough to ensure that they worked for women's reservation. Now, the Congress has said that women's reservation bill is a Congress brainchild, referring to what Rajiv Gandhi, Narasimha Rao and Dr. Manmohan Singh did for the same. Now, it'll be interesting to see whether in 25 minutes from now, when the cabinet meet happens, there is going to be a discussion of women's reservation bill at all. Is that the direction in which the government is headed? Is that why we're seeing the special session actually being convened? Or is it only the 8 bills that have been listed as of now by the government, details of which we've also given you here on India Today? There's a big question mark on that. But what's added fuel to all of this speculation, to this raging fire, was the Prime Minister's speech just before the special session convened, when from outside Parliament he spoke of a historic decision being made in the special session of Parliament. So what exactly will be that historic decision is the big question. All right, Paulami Saha is back with us. Paulami, we were just referring to the Congress's post on social media where essentially they've claimed credit for women's reservation, saying we took the first steps for that. And going by that, going by all the reactions that are coming in, the opposition seems to be preempting that it could be the Women's Reservation Bill.
Well, yes, the opposition definitely is trying to preempt it. There's been a lot of conversation and chatter around the Women's Reservation Bill. The opposition raised it in, like I said, in a unanimous voice ahead of the session in that government-called all-party meeting as well. But as far as the Congress is concerned, of course, they're going to claim credit as well. This sort of credit war is going to break out. There will be individual parties as well who will say that we've already implemented it in terms of giving tickets to women when we, of course, go into elections at the assembly level, at the Lok Sabha level, be it the BJP, I beg your pardon, the TMC, the BJD already claiming the same. BRS, of course, already taking the lead on this. But as far as this Women's Reservation Bill is concerned, it was first taken up in 1996 when Devi Gowda was Prime Minister of India. Several times since then, this bill has been brought to Parliament in 1996 and 1999, various times up until 2008, which was the final version of the bill, which was then passed by Rajya Sabha in 2009, but was not taken up for consideration in the Lok Sabha in 2010, and the bill seemingly lapsed because of the dissolution of the 15th Lok Sabha, but because it was passed by the Rajya Sabha, which is the Council of States, the bill in the form that was brought by the UPA in 2008 is still alive. Now, unless the Narendra Modi government wants to bring its own version of a new bill with changes in terms of the provisions inside this bill on women's reservation, you could see possibly the old bill brought in, but if it wants to make changes, then of course the cabinet will take up that new bill, pass that through the cabinet, approve it, and then of course it comes into Parliament. But like I said, it was in 1996 during former Prime Minister Devi Gowda's regime that the Women's Reservation Bill first made its appearance in Parliament.
All right. Thanks very much, Paulmi, for getting us those details. I'm going to come across to you in a few moments from now when that cabinet meet is set to begin at 6:30 this evening. Just an update for our viewers. The Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha have been adjourned. Lok Sabha is set to resume tomorrow at about 1:15 in the afternoon. The Rajya Sabha will be reconvening at 2:15 p.m. And then you will be seeing all business shifting from the old Parliament to the new Parliament. Let's get your details of that. That's the next big news break here on 6 p.m. Prime. You're going to be seeing a historic move on auspicious Ganesh Chaturthi. After an emotional adieu, a goodbye to the old Parliament today, where you had members of Parliament cutting across party lines, speaking on their memories, their experiences in the current Parliament building. Tomorrow, it's a new chapter for the country. Let's, in fact, get you those details. Tomorrow at 9-ish, you're going to see a group photo taking place, after which all MPs will officially shift to the new Parliament premises. There will be a brief puja on the auspicious occasion of Ganesh Chaturthi. At 1:15, Lok Sabha will reconvene, this time in the new Parliament, which is right next to the old Parliament building. At 2:15 is when Rajya Sabha will also convene. The special session will in fact kick off from tomorrow in the new Parliament building. There's a lot of buzz about this building as well. Let's get you those details of why we're having a new Parliament building being constructed, because it was a topic of great discussion, of great debate about whether we really need a new Parliament building. And I know a lot of questions are also being asked of what happens to the old Parliament building, which the government has confirmed will be treated as a historical heritage site. Let's talk about why really the new Parliament is needed. The current building is almost 100 years old, because the construction was completed in just about 1927 or so. And since then, it's being used. Now, activities, number of people, all of that has increased manifold. So it's become a lot more difficult, really, with the current infrastructure to host events, or for that matter, to even accommodate the number of MPs currently present. There's no record, no document, be it this, of the original design of the Parliament building. And why is that also crucial? Because any changes that are made, any developing of the current Parliament building, it's impossible to actually go ahead and register it. The new modifications have been done essentially in an ad hoc manner, because there was no original plan of the current Parliament building. Now, the current house is also showing signs of overutilization. There are a number of designers, architects who've said that, look, it's time to ensure that you either completely revamp the building or build a new one. Communication structures were completely obsolete. There was no sense of really technology being brought into the Parliament building, which is why there was a need for a new Parliament to ensure that, the process of functioning of the both houses can continue seamlessly and technology can be used to better it as well. So let's get your details of the new Parliament building. What does it look like on the inside? What makes it better than the current Parliament building? Come tomorrow, you'll get a glimpse of what the new Lok Sabha and new Rajya Sabha look like. But before that, here on India Today, we get you a tour of that building.
"28 months went into building this monumental narrative. An architectural masterpiece. A reflection of the nation's Atmanirbhar vision. Let's take you now on a tour of India's new Parliament. The House of the People, our new Lok Sabha. Larger and grander. 888 seats, almost 300 more than the old chamber. This is the brand new Rajya Sabha, bigger, more spacious. Designed to accommodate 384 members, around 100 more seats than the present upper house. Vastness is just one element of this stately complex. India's new Parliament embodies the Indian diversity in all its glory. Materials sourced from across the country to build this temple of democracy. Teak wood from Nagpur in Maharashtra, Rajasthan's red and white sandstone. Carpets procured from Mirzapur in Uttar Pradesh. The stone jali work bears the craftsmanship of Rajnagar in Rajasthan and Noida in Uttar Pradesh. Flooring of bamboo wood from the northeast, from Agartala in Tripura. Indore in Madhya Pradesh sent the Ashok Chakra. The Ashok emblem sourced from Chhatrapati Sambhajinagar in Maharashtra and Jaipur in Rajasthan. The false ceiling structure brought in from Daman and Diu.
इस नई संरचना को रिकॉर्ड समय में बनाने के लिए करीब 60,000 के आसपास श्रम योगियों ने अपना योगदान दिया है.
Set to be dedicated to the nation, an enduring manifestation of the spirit of Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, months ago, when the new Parliament building was unveiled, when you had the inauguration by the Prime Minister in that grand puja, there was a lot of talk about a symbol of sovereignty and transfer of power in the times of the Chola Empire, which was revived. I'm referring to the Sengol. And here's a look at the journey of the Sengol. It's been much debated, but what exactly is the story behind this artifact?
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge, not wholly or in full measure, but very substantially. At the stroke of the midnight hour, when the world sleeps, India will awake to life and freedom.
This landmark tryst carries a backstory. A backstory rarely told. A backstory that dates back to the Chola Empire, a Tamil dynasty that originated in the Kaveri Valley and ruled the region for over 500 years until the 13th century. Just before the Union Jack came down and 300 years of British rule ended. The transfer of power was emblematically encapsulated in the Tamil ceremony. Priests from prominent Tamil mutts carried a 5-foot scepter, sprinkled it with holy water, and handed it to Pandit Nehru at his Delhi home at sunset on August 14th. This wasn't an ordinary symbol of sovereignty. Called Sengol, derived from the Sanskrit word shank or a conch, surmounted by a carving of Nandi, Shiva's sacred bull. The golden staff, made by craftsmen in what was then called Madras, was modelled after the wand that the Chola kings would hand to their successors. The choice wasn't random. It was the outcome of deep thoughts and research. Pandit Nehru turned to freedom fighter C. Rajagopalachari for suggestions regarding a symbol for the transfer of power from the British to the Indians. Rajagopalachari found the answer in history. He contacted a leading mutt down south to create the Sengol of the Chola tradition. Its seer then commissioned the job to the famous Vumidi Bangaru jewelers.
The scepter was done by my great-grandfather and my grandfather. So, I mean, even just to make the replica itself is like such a proud moment for us. I could have imagined how it would have felt for them, because they actually symbolized the transfer of power, and it's a great honor for my family to have been able to make this and give it to our government at that day.
The Sengol was rebuilt in 30 days.
It was not lost. I think it went down memory lane. So we didn't know where it was. Thanks to, I think, the media Ananda Vigadan, it was revived. It was known. And then one of our family clan took the effort of backtracking it and seeing it in Allahabad, sending people there and going through the whole process.
Revived from the Chola region, handed to independent India's first Prime Minister. Mislabeled in a museum as Pandit Nehru's walking stick. The historic Sengol story has come a full circle in 2023. Bureau Report, India Today.
So the government, much like many of the other initiatives, in this case too, has highlighted Indian culture, Indian tradition, and the Sengol is one form of that. But besides that, you're going to be seeing a swanky, brand new parliament with a lot more space. We've created a virtual set here of what the Lok Sabha looks like. And this particular Lok Sabha, the new parliament building, is much bigger than the previous one. This one can seat 888 members, and that's in the Lok Sabha alone. In the Rajya Sabha, the numbers are about 384, much more than what the current parliament building can house. Now, that's why you will see that it's also built over a much larger space. It's built over an area of 64,500 square meters. Now, there are several highlights of the building, and as I mentioned, there's a focus on Indian culture, Indian tradition, the India story. The Lok Sabha chamber has reportedly been designed like the national bird of India, like the peacock. The shape of it resembles a peacock. What about the Rajya Sabha chamber? It resembles a lotus, the national flower of the country. So each of these details have been looked into very carefully. While the Lok Sabha will resemble a peacock, the Rajya Sabha resembles a lotus. I'm slipping into a very short break here on India Today. Away from all of the excitement of course, the members of parliament shifting into the new parliament tomorrow, we're also going to be talking about the special session and the business that will be discussed.